In a peaceful village, nestled between rolling hills and lush green forests, there lived a girl named Emma. She was small for her age, standing no taller than the wheat stalks that swayed gently in the village fields. Emma was only 9, but her spirit was bigger than anyone could imagine. Emma's mother had fallen ill years ago, and her father, a woodcutter, worked from dawn until dusk to provide for their small family. Though Emma was young, she often took it upon herself to help with household chores and care for her mother. Despite her small frame and tender age, she had a heart full of hope and love. But deep inside, Emma carried a burden. She often overheard villagers speaking about her family, their pitying words echoing in her mind. Poor Emma, she's so young and burdened with so much. These words chipped away at her confidence, but she never let anyone see her doubt. One summer day, word spread through the village that a great storm was approaching. The villagers hurried to secure their homes and prepare for the tempest. Emma's father, as usual, was out in the woods, chopping wood to sell. As the sky darkened, Emma began to worry. She looked at her frail mother, resting quietly in bed, and knew she had to act quickly. The storm hit suddenly, with winds howling like wolves and rain crashing down like a river from the heavens. Emma ran from window to window, securing shutters and placing buckets to catch the water leaking through their roof. Despite the fear swirling in her heart, she remained focused. Her mother's weak coughs from the next room spurred her on. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get notified about new videos. The storm raged for hours, and as night fell, the village was plunged into darkness. Lanterns flickered in the distance, but inside Emma's house, the only light came from the small candle she had placed by her mother's bedside. Suddenly, there was a loud knock at the door. Emma's heart raced. She cautiously opened it to find her neighbor, Old Man James, standing there drenched from the rain. He was a kind man, but his voice trembled with urgency. "Emma," he said, "I've come to warn you. The river by the forest is rising fast. The water will flood the village soon. You need to leave." Emma's eyes widened in fear. "But my mother, she's too weak to move." James's face softened, and he placed a hand on her shoulder. "You're a brave girl, Emma, but the water's coming. If you stay, you'll be trapped. Get out while you can." Emma stood frozen for a moment. Her mind raced. She knew she couldn't leave her mother behind, but she was terrified. The villagers had always seen her as small, helpless, and fragile. Could she really do what needed to be done? James left, warning other villagers of the impending flood. Emma closed the door and stood by her mother's bedside. "Mama," she whispered, her voice trembling, "we need to leave." Her mother stirred, her eyes fluttering open. "Emma," she said softly, "I can't. I'm too weak. You need to go." Tears welled up in Emma's eyes, but she shook her head fiercely. "No, Mama. We'll go together. I'll find a way." Emma ran to the small shed at the back of their home. The wind was fierce, and the rain stung her face, but she didn't stop. Inside the shed, she found an old cart her father used to carry firewood. It was rusty and heavy, but it would have to do. With all her might, she dragged the cart into the house and set it next to her mother's bed. Panting, she wiped the rain from her face and spoke to her mother. "I'll help you into the cart, Mama. I'm going to take you to higher ground." Her mother, weak and barely able to move, protested. "You're just a child, Emma. You can't do this. It's too dangerous." But Emma's mind was made up. She remembered the words of the villagers, their voices filled with pity. They saw her as weak, but she knew better. She had cared for her mother all these years. She had managed the household, and now she would save her. With great effort, Emma helped her mother into the cart, wrapping her in blankets to keep her warm. She gripped the cart's handles tightly, feeling the weight of it pressed down on her small hands. The wind howled, and the rain beat down harder, but Emma didn't let go. Slowly, step by step, she pulled the cart out of the house and into the storm. The road to higher ground was long and steep, and the rising floodwaters were already creeping toward the village. Emma's muscles ached, her legs wobbled, but she never stopped. Each time she felt her strength fading, she looked back at her mother and remembered why she was doing this. The rain made the ground slippery, and several times Emma almost lost her footing. But every time she stumbled, she caught herself, her determination fueling her every step. Finally, after what felt like hours, Emma reached a hill that overlooked the village. She pulled the cart to the top, gasping for breath. The rain had lessened, and the floodwaters below surged through the village. But they were safe. Emma collapsed beside the cart, utterly exhausted. Her mother, weak but smiling, reached out to her. "Emma," she whispered, "you saved me. You did it." Tears of relief and joy flowed from Emma's eyes as she held her mother's hand. She had done the impossible. The next morning, when the villagers emerged from their homes, they heard of Emma's courageous act. No longer did they see her as the small, helpless girl. They saw her for what she truly was, a brave, determined soul, capable of great things. Emma's story spread far and wide, a tale of courage, love, and the power of belief. It reminded everyone that strength doesn't come from size or age, but from the heart. In the end, Emma had proven, not just to the villagers, but to herself, that with enough determination, no obstacle is too great and no burden too heavy. If you enjoyed my video, please like and subscribe.